if I sat here and I try to be unbiased for a minute, I'd love to play the Islanders tonight just because they are shorthanded and I want to get 2 points and I want my team to go in there and I want them to smash the Islanders.
You also want to hang out in the Winners Brothers suite with all your buddies, man.
Right, exactly. But here's the point.
Yeah.
The point is that now I do have a connection to the Islanders, and I will not speak to him at all, and I haven't spoken to him this week at all because he knows how I get when these games start rolling around.
Certainly,
and he knows that where my heart lies with the blue shirts. Everybody knows that. But I have to say, if I'm going to be unbiased, the Islanders are getting screwed. And they are getting screwed because the NHL should not be playing this game. They should have not played Sunday night's game either against the Toronto Maple Leafs. I understood Saturday night because it was opening night and they had all the pomp and circumstance, all the fanfare and everything else. But they are severely, severely hampered. And, up in Ottawa, they shut it down. Now, they had 10 players and a coach, I believe. So they had 11 people that came down with COVID. I want to say it's like 8 or 9 people with the Islanders. If I get my numbers correct and I understand everything that I'm reading, they are a shell of a team. But there's also the enormous financial pressure to open this building.
I mean, this place is going to be jammed tonight, man. Ranger fans, Islander fans, the suites are going to be packed. I mean, it's
money over COVID.
Money over COVID.
It is. I mean, and I understand it. And we're going to get a break because we're going to get a half of an Islander team, and we're going to be playing a lot against the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. And
you're going to get 2 points is probably what's going to happen.
I hope so. I mean, goalie gets hot. You never know, man. Mackenzie Blackwood did it to the Islanders a couple weeks back. 45 shots on goal and 45 saves. So you never know. But all I'm saying is I recognize what the Islanders are going through. They started with a 13-game road trip. That didn't go so well, especially the last 4. They've lost 6 in a row, and now they're half of a team. So I'm just saying what the reality is, and Lou Lamoriello will not complain. He's just going to tell his guys, look,
go out there, no excuses.
Get your ass out there, and you know what?
We got Boomer and Gio in the building. They want to see a real hockey game.
If they win this game tonight, it would be a real testament to who they are and the way they play.
Last Islander game, I was put on the big screen, so I'm expecting the same type of treatment at UBS.
You're a Fugazi Islander fan.
No, that's true. I hop on, and I'm not going to fight that. I hop on when they're playing well in the playoffs, and then I ride that all the way as far as I can.
But I am totally excited to see the new building.
Yeah, of course.
I'm excited to go see my Rangers play and, of course, see my son-in-law play. So, we'll leave it at that, and now you know how I feel, but I'll be all rocked up tonight and rock and rolling.
Rocked up?
Oh, yeah, baby. I'm being
Doesn't that have a different meaning?
No, I don't want you coming near me and just talking to me about, you see look at the roof, look at this, look at that. I mean, I don't need that nonsense.
I won't.
When I go to a game, I go to a game.
No,
you know what I'm saying? I go to watch the game. I'm kind of like Evan. I don't worry about the line changes and things of that nature, but I want to be invested in the game. I want to watch the game.
This is not the first game I've gone to you with. I've gone to football games. I've left you alone. I know what to do.
Yeah, but I've worked those football games.
I know. This is sort of the same thing. In my opinion, you're sort of like you're working. I mean, you are so invested in these hockey games, it's like you're working.
All right.
I know etiquette, man. Don't even tell. I know etiquette. I'll be drinking, I'll be eating, I'll be laughing, I'll be talking to all your buddies. I'm going to be talking to Dimitri about HGH, all that stuff.
Okay.
I'm going to be doing.
All right.
So,
by the way, Al, speaking of Dimitri, he sent me a text.
Dimitri is one of Boomer's hockey buddies for people.
Right. So he's a psychotic.
So he's a psychopath. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, he said to me yesterday at 10:10, he sent you a text that he would bid $1,200 to sit in with you and Jerry Recco. Is that true?
I did not get a text message from Dimitri.
No text message.
Nothing.
And it got way over $1,200, by the way.
By the way, but he said he sent you a text $1,200, and then you said it ended at 10 o'clock.
Maybe he reached out on Twitter and I didn't realize it was him. Let me see.
Yeah, it could be. All right, so maybe he did reach out on Twitter. Maybe I don't know if you follow him or whatever, but
it was a bidding war. There was a bidding war at the end of 10 o'clock, and it got over $2,000.
And by the way, a huge thank you to our listeners for participating in Hungerthon yesterday.
Yeah.
Over 150 grand raised through our show and Moose and Maggie. And Casamigos was right there, right along the way with us. So a big thank you to Lee and all his partners and everybody else at Casamigos for making a wonderful day happen yesterday. So that's great. Now, Couple things. We talked about this yesterday morning, and I think we both knew it was coming. We talked as if it were coming, and that was going to be the firing of Jason Garrett for the New York Giants. Okay, so you got your pound of flesh, Giant fans. Now it's up to Freddie Kitchens to somehow ignite this team. Now, he did this for the Cleveland Browns, by the way. Hence why he got the head coaching job for the Browns, which I didn't think
as an interim coach, though, right? Not as an interim head coach.
Job, but he got the head job.
It wasn't he was the coordinator. He went from like quarterback coach to interim head coach.
And he was calling the plays.
Yeah, that's right.
So he has a history in this regard. We haven't really heard much from him since he got canned by the Cleveland Browns, and he allowed Baker Mayfield to run roughshod over everything, which was the wrong way of doing it. So hopefully he learned, and hopefully now he can unlock what the front office believes, and I think in the ownership believes, is a group of number one first-round draft choices that have not lived up to their billing or their draft status.
Yeah, and this is another example of why you need to let the head coach be the man and hire everybody he wants to hire. Because there were 3 people that Joe Judge did not hire. Jason Garrett and 2 of Jason Garrett's buddies, one of which was that offensive line coach Colombo, who he ended up getting in that fight with that he fired last year. There was another guy in the offseason who was like a quality control guy that Jason Garrett brought in. He was let go at the end of the season last year. There were 3 guys. They're all gone. And Joe Judge seems to be one of these guys who wants to be in control, as he should be. He's the head coach. And he was forced into having these guys on his staff. That annoyed him. And now they're out of there. And now it's all on him. So, while he is now moved on from Jason Garrett, he said what he said after the game on Monday night. Now the buck stops with him. There's no more excuse making. There's no more injuries are the problem. There's no more the offensive coordinator didn't get the job done. This is on Joe Judge. Let's see how much better that they are at the end to the rest of the season. Because if the same problems still exist from here until the end of week 18 now, whatever it is, then it's going to be on Daniel Jones, Dave Gettleman, and Joe Judge. That's who it's going to be on. Nobody else. There's no more scapegoats.
It's really going to be on Dave Gettleman because he's the one that has made all these picks. And these guys, maybe with the exception of Andrew Thomas and a flash here and a flash there of Kadarius Toney. So I went back and I looked at the All-22, and we all saw what Dan Orlovsky put out there yesterday. We saw Brian Baldinger put the same play out there. It was a crisscross, and there was a third player that was supposed to be up in the middle of the field, and that's kind of the concept of a play. And those crisscrosses underneath, they could be man beaters, but they also can be running zones, and those wide receivers have to get to their zones and then sit down and show the quarterback their chest so the quarterback knows that they're reading the same thing. And this is why we practice so much. This is why we're in meetings so much. This is why we have conversations after practice. This is why when we call a play in the huddle, we say to somebody, hey, guys, it may be man coverage here, and if it's man coverage, I need you to do a double move or something. You can do all those things within the body of the game. So I went back and I looked at it. And then I went back to one of the games that I played in back against Philadelphia in 1997. And we ran that same exact play. And I hit a guy coming out of the backside, and it was a blitz. It was man coverage, and this was a man beater. And I hit a guy out by the numbers, and he went down the sideline for 65 yards or 60 yards or something. And I'm saying to myself, the receivers have to understand their levels so they don't run into each other, and so that the defensive backs or linebackers don't get in the middle of it all, so they can actually get past each other. And that, to me, is up to the wide receiver coach to explain that, on the practice field, when they're watching tape, and when they're going over their final thoughts on a Saturday night, or on the sideline when they show them the freaking iPad. Look, man, this is what's going on. This is what we have to do. And young kids sometimes don't understand, the way that there is space on a football field and how you create it on the NFL field. And when you're going against a bunch of veteran linebackers and safeties, they're going to screw with you, especially when you're only playing in your 6th or 7th game if you're Kadarius Toney. So I don't know if it was Kadarius. I don't know if it was Evan Ingram. I don't know who it was who made the mistake, but they have to understand where they are in the field and how they have to play off of the guys that are standing on the field. Can't just go running into the middle of the field and run into each other.
Do you think that changing Jason Garrett's going to make this Giants offense take off? Because that's a hard thing for me to believe. It really is. Now, I mean,
depends on how aggressive Freddie Kitchens is, and it depends on, I think, the conversations that he's probably going to, that he already had yesterday with Joe Judge, the conversations that he'll have again today with Joe Judge. There's also the other side of with Graham on the other side. They got to figure out a way to get a freaking pass rush, and then this week, playing against Philadelphia at home. So here's what's going to happen: they're going to get to the stadium. And there's going to be already the agita and the misery of another losing season. Mm-hmm. And the fan base is going to be sitting on edge. They're going to be initially there to root on their team to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, because that means more to them than anything. By the way, you cannot lose to Philadelphia.
Sure.
I mean, especially in a situation like they find themselves in right now, where they have another losing season. They just fired an offensive coordinator, and in come the Philadelphia Eagles with Jalen Hurts as quarterback. So I think you got to go over to Patrick Graham and you got to say, look, man, I don't want to see Jalen Hurts running all over the goddamn place. You got to come up with a plan. And I'm telling you what they should do. They should do what the Bengals and what the Dolphins did to Lamar Jackson. The Bengals and the Dolphins have the perfect game plan for a kid that plays the way that Jalen Hurts plays. And, I would look at that film and I would look at those things and I would try to incorporate some of the concepts in my own game plan, watching how they stopped the fastest guy at the position in Lamar Jackson and really made him struggle. But this kid, Jalen Hurts, is just running all over the place on opposing defenses. And he's just making these broken plays. And that's going to drive, Giant fans crazy if they watch it and the defense doesn't get it. They should have 4 or 5 sacks this week.
Oh, that would be great, but I think all eyes are going to be on the offense, and if this offense was underachieving or they're just a mediocre offense. I mean, some of the numbers they've had this year, they are a bottom of the league offense.
Oh, they're bottom third of the league easily.
So what is it? Is it the offensive coordinator or is it these guys? One of the things that I wanted to see personally more out of the offense, I got against the Bucs, which was Kadarius Toney getting targeted more. He had 12 targets in that game.
But again, I just don't know if he is doing all the things that he's supposed to be doing. I understand that he has flashes of brilliance. He's an incredible athlete. I'm just not sure that he knows everything that he needs to be doing. And I know that there's pressure to play the kid.
Yeah.
Because we see the flashes. But you have to understand that, there's probably a little bit of indecision that is going on between he and Daniel Jones.
Oh, I'm sure that they still got to work that out. The other thing people are going to want to see is Saquon Barkley get more than 6 carries in a football game. Now, and once I said it again, I'll say it again, and I said it yesterday. They weren't down by 30 the entire game.
No, they weren't. They were in the game.
This was a close, and he was still only got 6 carries. Now, the whole thing, he's got to work himself back, blah, blah, blah. They used him in the passing game. He got 6 targets in the passing game. He had 6 receptions.
And he would have had another one had, Daniel Jones been able to throw the ball down the sideline as opposed to throwing it to Steve McClendon.
So if he's healthy enough to play, then let's run the guy. Enough. So those are 2 things that I want to see. And maybe Freddie Kitchens and Joe Judge want to see the same thing. But it's going to be all eyes on the offense because they still need to figure out whether or not Daniel Jones is going to be the quarterback going forward.
Well, if he plays like he played on Monday night, he ain't going to be the quarterback going forward.
Well, but here's here's your big change. Let's see. Is it Daniel? Was this cosmetic or was this some sort of fundamental change that is going to make Daniel Jones take off? We'll see.
And by the way, it's not, they're not changing offensive systems. They never do that. It's hard enough for guys to learn a system as it is. It's just going to be a different way of play calling. I don't know if Freddie's going to be on the sideline or up in the box. I hope he's up in the box. I always believe that an offensive coordinator in a controlled environment inside, he can see all of his plays. He can think ahead as opposed to being on the sideline and on the field and being involved in all the craziness that's going on the field. That's why I always believe that an offense coordinator should be up in the booth. I really believe that because he can have everything in front of him. If it's raining and windy and guys are screaming at each other on the sideline, it's football on the sideline.
Yeah,
right?
sure. Yeah.
So give him a place where he can sit and he can have all of his stuff there and let somebody else call the plays into Daniel Jones and let him just do his thing in the peace and quiet of the coach's box.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.